Hey everybody, welcome back to the Tobin Gregory Group Show podcast. I don't think we're still sure what we're calling this yet, but Jake Gregory here and Craig Tobin. Craig, how are you, my friend?
I am excellent, brother. How are you?
Good, good. I saw your background has changed up, so let's start with the obvious. There's something I noticed that's missing.
Well, it's not missing, it's just hidden a little bit. So I did move some stuff around and do have a piece of artwork here from Mr. Goddard. It's just the Wall Street final table. We got the bull and the bear fighting over the market at the final poker table with a strawberry delivering it. You got a martini and Goddard's classic olives. Um, just a pretty cool piece in general. You could see the bull is winning, which is good for the market. Uh, I will not take this poster down at all. It is a framed artist proof, 9 out of 50. I do have some Dallas Cowboys stuff still in here. It's just shifted around a bit, a little more in the background, as it is my fandom for the team. We'll get to that later.
Nice, man. Yeah, I like that picture. That's pretty cool. I like that the Bulls winning. That's great.
Yes.
So we always start with mortgage stuff. We always promise to keep this right around or less than 15 minutes. So we'll stay true to that today. I think what I really want to talk about today, Craig, mortgage related wise, is I had a call with a client yesterday that was in a bad spot in 2008 when the market crashed. So housing bubble conversation came up. I think that's important to talk about today because we are at a spot where real estate is worth more than it ever has been, right? So I'll follow up with some stuff on the conversation, but what's your take on the market and a potential bubble that we might be in?
So I don't, a lot of the experts don't think we're in a bubble. I would agree with that. People always reflect back to 07, 08 and what happened back then, and things were so different. You can't really compare the two. Right now, home values are continuing to go up, and with the rates in flux, since last week when Fed announced the rate cut, rates have actually gone up. The 10-year bond up, I think, 10 basis points almost. Yesterday was a little bit of a bloodbath for our rates as well. And uh, I think it's going to come down to where inflation finds itself towards the end of the year with the election and everything else going on. But the home values are still rising. Um, Depending upon the area you're in, they're rising at about 5 to 6% a year. And I don't see any of that stopping at this point. There's too much going on in the economy, and right now, with all the swings politically and everything else, we really just don't know how it's going to pan out. I don't think it's a bubble. Um, Whether it'll maintain this 6% rise year over year, that remains to be seen. A lot of people don't see how that's possible unless everything else, cost of living and things like that, go up with salaries and employment numbers and everything else. So there's just so much in flux to really even determine if we're in a bubble. But I don't think we're in a bubble.
Right. Yeah, and like you said, there's a lot of things that impact the rates. I think the main decision for the rate cut and where we're at is from what I read from Jerome Powell and the Fed is based around them expecting employment numbers to come out worse than they were hoping, right? And inflation they actually expect to get too low, which is why they're reducing these rates to help make money move. But going back to the housing bubble, I mean, nationally, and of course, East Coast, Northeast, Southeast, and West Coast, you're going to have more demand, more money. I mean, in all reality, that's out there to be used for real estate. The main thing I see that's going to tell me this is not a bubble, like it was in '08, is in 2008, you had way more homes than you had buyers. And the cost of real estate went up and it went up and it went up. And then as soon as the demand for home buyers stopped, that's where the bubble happened. Well, if you don't have people buying houses at the prices houses are set, they're reduced to get them sold, right?
Right.
Where we're at now nationally, from East Coast to West Coast and in between, the average is there's still four people that want to buy a home to every one home that's available right now. You've got builders going crazy. You've got houses going up everywhere and land being bought to try to stave that off. So it's not, I'm not one of these guys sitting at the Fed, but I don't see it being a housing crisis and a housing bubble like it was because there's still such a high demand for homes. And we're heading into a time where right now the house prices are probably going to go up again with that buyer demand and rates finally starting to ease off a little bit and a 1.5 year low. That demand is going to be there. We're going to have more buyers entering the market. We're going to have sellers willing to sell and go find another home because rates are now more palatable than they have been for a year and a half. So I see the market going up. People are able to buy more houses with lower rates, so that's good. But I don't believe we're in a bubble because the demand is still there. 4-1, the demand's there. So right
Yep.
now, still a good time to buy, in my opinion, if you want to buy a home. So any closing thoughts on mortgage and real estate stuff before we head into talking about your boys?
Um, so what I would say is I agree with you at this point. When you're looking at things and you're looking to invest in real estate, don't let the rates dictate investing in real estate. If this is a true investment, you're going to rent it out. The rates will go up and down, and you'll be able to catch it when it's down to refinance in the future. You just need to maybe withstand it being 1 or 2% higher for a couple of years, but you still own something tangible. You still have a write-off. You still have things that you can utilize in your tool belt to make it a doable investment. And these are things to remember if you're truly trying to build that generational wealth, and maybe you're trying to build a pipeline of homes in the future for your children to manage and things that I really believe that go out, get an investment property, worry about the rate later on. You could always refinance out of it.
Yep. And rates are at a time right now where you can buy more than you could have bought a month ago. So if you're
Exactly.
interested,
And you can also eventually, if you follow a football team, you could refinance out of that team as well. Um,
franchise. Yeah, we're about 6.5 minutes, so we'll talk some sports. We want to make sure we stay under 15. So
we're
go
we're
for it,
gonna
Greg. Tell us what's
we're
happening.
gonna talk very little about the Dallas Cowboys today. The Dallas Cowboys are playing the Giants tonight up in New York at MetLife. If the Cowboys lose, and I'm putting this out there on the podcast for the millions that are subscribed to our channel, or 20, whatever the number is, I'm going to let you guys know right now, if the Cowboys were to lose this game, I will not follow the Cowboys the rest of this season. I will follow another team. I do have applications from other teams to be their support group, and I will follow another team. And you'll probably all hate whatever team that is too. But it will not be the Cowboys if they lose tonight. Mark my words.
I hear
I'm
that.
done with it. The shenanigans, it's got to stop. Love Jerry Jones, nice guy. I met him in person a few times, but he's done with running a franchise, in my opinion. He's really good at oil. He was really good at winning Super Bowls 30 years ago. But I have a lot of friends that aren't even old enough to have said, "Hey, I saw the Cowboys win a Super Bowl." And uh, so we're going to move on to the New York Rangers. Hockey season's starting. The Rangers are going to be good this year. I don't know how many of you out there are hockey fans, but I have a lot of friends that have never been to a professional hockey game. I do recommend that if you want to watch a fast-paced sport, whether you understand it or not, get to a hockey game. I mean, you can see so much at a game. I actually went to game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals, and I'm a fan of neither team, but my family and I drove down to Florida, went to game 7 to watch the Panthers hoist the cup against Edmonton. It was a really cool experience to be there. So get involved with hockey. Those are the only two sports I really care about. Baseball, we talked about Ohtani last week. I mean, the guy continues to just do crazy things at the bat. I don't know where he's going to end up, but it's pretty unique. Aaron Judge is having a good year too. I believe those two are clearly the best two in baseball right now, even though I hate the Yankees with a passion, being a Met fan. That being said, I don't follow baseball anymore. It's too long a season. 162 games is stupid in my opinion. Um, but there's a lot of good football games this weekend, and the Washington Commanders, Redskins football team, whatever you want to call them. Jaden Daniels having a great first three games of the year. You know, my brother's a Commanders fan and talking Super Bowl and all this other stuff. Calm down, Commanders fans. It's a long season. Hey, just look at my most hated team, the Philadelphia Eagles. They were doing so well last year until they weren't.
Yep.
Uh,
They
heck of
kind
a
of they kind of showed the Saints. You know, this is a good game, of course, but kind of showed the Saints skill set, right? It was an even.
yeah.
That was an even game, I would say.
Look, I do speak the truth, even though I hate the Eagles. They played their best game in a long time. Their defense shut down Kamara, forced Derek Carr to make all the throws, and if you put pressure on Derek Carr, he doesn't handle it very well.
Yeah.
There's a reason he's played on multiple teams. You know, he's an average quarterback, but you know, he was Peyton Manning the first 2 weeks, and you know, now all of a sudden he's not.
Well,
So
I need to put a plug in here too for my boy Josh Allen because they're already look. All the commentators, please stop talking about MVP. We're heading into week 4, and typically when you start having those conversations, somebody gets hurt. It's like the Madden curse. Have you heard of the Madden curse, Craig? For
absolutely.
a stint of time
Look at
there,
Christian McCaffrey. He's on the cover and he's
yeah,
injured.
yeah,
It you know the by the way, and yes, Josh Allen had a hell of a week. You know, look, the Buffalo Bills are once again front runners to win the AFC, and you know, because Kansas City doesn't look like that team right now, and the 0-3 Bengals, you know, it's funny, but a buddy of mine this morning said, you know, Joe Burrow hasn't won a game since he turned his hairstyle into Ellen DeGeneres. Uh, he does
all right.
he does look like he's in a boy band. I
Oh
don't know
man.
what
All
his
right. Well,
barber is
you know,
thinking, but you know, between everything going on in Cincinnati, they're 0-3.
and they're not a bad team. They
No,
could have beat the
they're
Kansas
a
City. Kansas City's still
contender.
going to be the team to beat.
Look, there's a great football movie. It's called Any Given Sunday.
Mhm.
And it's the truth in the NFL. You know, the Carolina Panthers. Let's not finish this podcast without giving them some props.
Yeah.
The Red Rocket, Andy Dalton comes in and
Right.
lights it up, beats
Yep.
Vegas, who the week before beat the Ravens.
Yep.
So when you have things like this going on, you know, you got the three biggest upsets in the first 3 weeks all happened.
Yeah.
So the parity in the NFL right now is insane. You know, on the fantasy football front, I should fire myself because I benched two people that had career weeks this past week after giving them 2 weeks to show me something. Of course, it's a Philadelphia Eagle that screwed me. It was Dallas Goedert. I benched him, and he had a career day. Deontay Johnson, I did the same thing with because, you know, Bryce Young couldn't throw, you know, to hit the side of a barn if he was in it. They put in Dalton, and Andy Dalton is Tom Brady this week.
Yeah.
So,
That's how it goes, man. It's a fun sport. All right, let's finish with some fun facts. We got about 2 minutes, 20 seconds left. So,
yep,
Three Mile Island has been out of commission, the nuclear power plant in New York, since it had its meltdown, which thankfully, you know, everything in place, it wasn't that big of a deal when that happened. 20 years out of commission. It will be firing back up for specifically for Microsoft's artificial intelligence. Um, it's wild that a nuclear power plant has to power that. Now, obviously, there's races among all nations to get general artificial intelligence, which is where computers think for themselves. Right now, it is just you feed it information, it can give you the data back however you want it back, which is kind of cool because it's more knowledgeable than any single human being is. But it takes a power plant, a nuclear power plant, to run generative AI, which is
that's
astounding.
insane.
On a side note, which this I mean anyone that's watched the Terminator and you know we can go down that path and get all you know crazy if we'd like, but China has been working on their general artificial intelligence, and I want to ask you, Craig, if you know what they're naming it.
I do not know.
No joke. This can be funny or scary. They're naming it Skynet.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's the computer that launched all the Terminators, right? So, anyways, I don't know if
I,
there's any
I guess
meaning behind that or not, but
they'll be back.
yeah. Well, gang, thanks for joining us today. Go below. You're going to see a link below starting on all of our videos where if you're a homeowner thinking about home ownership, you can get market information, but it will give you wealth building tips, tell you what your home valuation is as an estimate every month, and tell you how to manage that wealth and grow that wealth through your home ownership. So click the link below. Craig and I, Tobin Gregory Group, will be providing things of value like this to you. So make sure to go grab that if you are a homeowner, you're interested in your home's value, or you're even looking for a home to get good market insight. I appreciate you being here. Craig, any final words?
No, I just wanted to thank everyone for spending 15 minutes with us on another Thursday. Hope you all have a great rest of the end of your week.
Thanks, everybody.